Hello everyone and welcome to my channel called Demon Story Time. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, for your likes, comments, for your donations. All information for donation you can find down below in the comments. Today we continue reading this lovely book called Demon Story Time, and our story will be called Cup of Rushes. Yeah. A very old king took it into his head to retire and to split his kingdom between his three daughters. Mhm. But which of them should have the fat green land to the south, which the bare bleak mountains to the west, which the purple wilds of the north? He could have tossed a coin to decide. But being a vain man, he asked each girl instead, "How much do you love me?" "More than gold and silver," said Goneril, his oldest daughter, wanting the best share. "More than diamonds and rubies," said Regan, trying to outdo her. The king purred with pleasure. "And you, Cordelia?" he asked his favorite daughter. "How much do you love me?" "As much as meat loves salt," said the little princess. "What's that supposed to mean?" said the king, scowling. "Speak again." But the youngest would say nothing more. The king, who had always thought she loved him best of all, um, threw a terrible tantrum, tossing furniture about the shooting. "If I mean so little to you, you can just get out. Go on, get out, and don't come back. I'll split my kingdom between Goneril and Regan. As for you, you can walk the world and starve for all I care. Meat, salt, heartless Tuncle child." So Cordelia went out into the stormy world, taking with her only 3 dresses of her dead mothers as remembrance. She picked rushes from the river bank and wove herself a cap and cloak, such as beggars wore to keep off the rain and cold. And she threw her name into the river, so afterwards people had no name to call her by but Cup of Rushes. Here it is. Yeah, if she was ever to eat again, she had to find work. So she knocked at the door of a royal castle in the kingdom next door. "I would work hard for no pay and only a bite to eat and somewhere to lie down my head," said Cup of Rushes. "Then you may scrub pots and shine pans in the kitchen," said the housekeeper, and sleep by the stove at night. The little princess was as good as her word. She worked hard from dawn till dark. Though her soft hands were not used to scrubbing, she was so helpful and so hardworking that she had soon earned a place for herself in the castle kitchen, in hearts of the other servants too. They told her all their troubles and all their news, and she always cheered them up with her kindness and her good advice. Imagine someone. Here she is, pretty lady. So, when the king announced that he was to give a party with dancing and feasting and orchestras and 100 guests, the word soon reached the little scullery maid. Oh, cup of rushes, it's going to be such a grand affair. 3 days of dancing, 1, 2, 3. The king and the prince and all the dukes and duchesses will be there. Everyone in the kingdom is invited, and we shall serve the food and take the clocks and wait at the table and see it all. Cup of rushes, thought you have to find something better to wear than that cup of yours. It sounds great, said Cup of Rushes, nothing more. But on the day of the first ball, she said she was too tired to go on upstairs and watch the dancing. So the other servants left her asleep in front of the stove and went without her. As soon as they were gone, Cup of Rushes opened her eyes, fetched out her bundle, and took off her coarse cups and cup. She put on a dress of her mother's, a white dress stitched all over with pearls, and brushed her hair until every tangle was out. Then she ran upstairs to join in the dancing. Cup of Rushes, off! Cup of Rushes, you should have been there. The servant and footman and maids and cooks all tumbled into the kitchen, noisy with excitement. The little scullery maid asleep in front of the stove blinked her eyes and sat up. Yeah, there was this princess. Oh, she was lovely. A white dress. The prince couldn't take his eyes off her. How they danced, how they talked. She just left not 10 minutes ago. Oh, Cup of Rushes, such an amazing evening. Cup of, Cup of Rushes pulled her grassy cap closer around her. It must have been grand, she said, but nothing more. Next evening, the music began again upstairs in the grand ballroom. All the servants changed into their best livery, but Cup of Rushes said she was too tired to do anything but sleep and lay down in front of the stove. As soon as they were gone, she changed her ugly cap and cup for a second dress, black one, 7 with diamonds, like the night sky, and brushed her hair till it floated around her head. As she ran upstairs once again, she danced all night with the prince, and this time it was not so easy to slip away, for she could hardly bear to part from the prince, nor he from her. Even so, she was back in front of the stove before her friends burst excitedly into the room. Cup of rushes, oh, cup of rushes, you should have been there. That princess came again. A black dress covered in diamonds. The prince loves her for sure. Cup of rushes pulled her grassy cap closer around her. It must have been grand, she said, but nothing more. Such a lovely drawing. Oh my god, look at that. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Amazing. On third evening, she again pretended she was too tired to go to the ball, and the others again went without her. As soon as they were gone, she put on her third dress, a red one sewn with rubies, and brushed her hair till it crackled with electricity. She could hardly wait to see the prince, for her love for him was big like a pain inside her. Hmm? As they danced, he asked to marry her. What? Said he would die if he could not marry her. Seized her hand and slipped his own ring of state onto her finger. Oh my god. But when Cup of Rushes looked into his eyes, she saw her own reflection and threw, what am I? A scullery maid, cast out by my father. When he finds out, the prince too will hate me. That's messed up. Wriggling free of his grasp, Cup of Rushes fled. Don't go, cried the prince. Friends, servants, stop her for me. Please, I mustn't lose her. Guests and guards, servants and maids scattered in every direction. Cooks and footmen stumbled down the back stairs in the kitchen as fast as they could go, but found no one, only the little scullery maid asleep in front of the stove. Oh, Cup of Rushes. Cup of Rushes, such a calamity. Wait till you hear, wailed the head cook. They did not realize that underneath that nasty cup of reeds rustled a gorgeous gown of red silk and rubies. Two riders galloped through the land. No trace could be found of the girl in the scarlet dress, and when it seemed she was gone forever, the prince cancelled all his royal engagements and stayed in his rooms, day after week after fortnight. Oh, cup of rushes, sobbed the cook as she crazy lady running from the prince. Mhm. Chopped onions one day. I'm afraid this is the last meal I shall ever cook for that poor young man. What poor young man is that? Asked Cup of Rushes. I'm not supposed to say, it's a state secret, said the cook, biting her lip. But the king sent for me this morning and told me to cook soup for the prince. Seems he won't eat, can't sleep. Ay, ay, ay. He's pining away with a broken heart. One cup of rushes heard, she said, "Let me make the soup, please." And as she prepared it, she slipped the ring of state into the serving dish. The soup was sent up to the prince. At first he said he would not drink it, but at last the queen pressured him to take one sip, and lo and behold, there in his spoon was the ring. "Let the cook be sent for." The cry echoed down the back stairs. The cook quaked in her shoes. "What have I done? Why me?" The footman and maids gaped back at her and stroked helplessly. So, wiping her trembling hands on her apron, the cook went to the prince's bedside and courtside. "Who cooked this soup?" the prince demanded to know, his face as pale as death. Thinking the soup was bad and that poor little cup of rushes would get into trouble, the king-hearted cook said, "I did, your honor, if it please you. Thank you kindly like." Here is the prince. Come on. "No," said the prince, bounding out of bed and advancing on the cook with the bowl outstretched in his hands. "Who cooked this soup? Tell me the truth." "Oh, mercy!" cried the cook, putting her apron over her head. "It was cup of rushes, your honor. But she's really such a good girl. If you just knew her." "Send her to me," said the prince, and this time his voice was soft and gentle, because he knew he had found his missing princess. When Cup of Rushes went to the prince's room, it was not in her cup and cup of woven reeds. To the amazement of all the kitchen staff, she took that off and burned it on the stove, revealing a dress beneath of scarlet silk sewn with rubies. When the prince saw her, he knew he need not die. And when Cup of Rushes saw her prince, she suddenly knew how she could marry him after all and be happy evermore. "Connery Regan, we are invited to a wedding in the kingdom next door," said the very old king one morning. Here comes the trouble. He had no wish to go, had rather lost his taste for parties and jollifications. But of course he could not refuse, so he and his daughters traveled to the wedding. And a very lavish affair it was too. The wedding feast covered 17 trestle tables, roast swan, and oh my god, and quail and golden peasants, roast beef and pork, lamb and venison, beside all the rolls and pâtés and pastries. More than 100 guests stood up to taste the bride, to toast, to taste the oven, to toast the bride. Everyone said that Behind that cloud of snowy veil, she was tremendously beautiful. Tremendously beautiful. Then the serious business of eating began. Hands reached forks, glittered teeth snapped into the delicious fare. But 10 minutes later, everyone had lain down their forks. The food was uneatable. Why? It tasted of nothing. The cooks had forgotten to use any salt. Oh my god. It was embarrassing, yes. It was disappointing, true. Guests muttered between themselves that the head cook ought to be hanged. But even so, it was surely nothing to cry about. So why was the old retired king from the kingdom next door sobbing as if his heart would break, face sunk in his hands, the tears running out between his fingers, dripping onto his uneaten meat? Whatever is the matter? They asked him. I had I had a daughter once, wept the old man. I asked her how much she loved me, and she said, "Oh, God forgive me," she said, "as much as meat loves salt." I was so stupid that I threw her out into the stormy world to starve and die. It's only now too late. I understand. She really loved me best of all. Ah, better late than never. But before the other guests could burst into tears of sympathy, the bride clapped her hands. Footman, take this food away and feed it to the dogs, she commanded. And cook, fetch the other food, the dishes I told you to cook with salt. Then she threw back her white veil, running the whole length of the table to kiss her father and show him her happy, shining face. Hallelujah! Happy ending. I love happy ending, guys. Thank you so much for coming and see you next time. Bye.